Let's go ahead and dive into some comments with you guys. Y'all been leaving some really cool comments on the videos and the VODs themselves, so thank you for doing so. This actually came from Twitch, and this is in relation to Diablo 4, so we'll just kind of blend this all together, and then I've got some other comments that I think will be fun for us to explore together. Veiltis, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. So D4 comes out, months go by. What would you like to see them do to get you back into a new season? Diablo 4 using and bringing in the seasonal battle pass model that everybody has nowadays. What do you think?
So we've only seen the level 25, so we have no idea what the Paragon system does. We have no idea what all of the uniques and affixes that are locked behind higher levels and or higher difficulties do. And we don't really know how a lot of the skills feel and act and behave and manipulate off of each other by the time you add all that in and you get to experience skills beyond level 25. So we can already see the beginnings of some of those systems. Others we have to just guess at. So let's assume all that matures in a way that we really enjoy. I would say more affixes, just in general, more affixes. I'd love to see some of the affixes really start to cause weird interpretations of the skills. A lot of them right now, at least at low level, seem to be very geared towards like make this skill do more of the thing, and I'd love to see it make this skill behave differently. That way you start to see really crazy build variety. I don't know how account wide the game is. I only played through the beta on once, but like that's something that if they want me to play more than one character right now, it still feels very, very Diablo 3, where I only played through on one character, as opposed to on Diablo 2, I would play on this character to farm up gear, get a piece, roll over to the other character, try it out for a bit. Okay, I'm still not quite happy with it. Maybe still go back to my farming character and farm up a little bit more. So it felt more like I had a stable. And then like, I think that having difficulties beyond, what are they calling the open world at max level? Torment as the highest. Yeah. Having higher torment levels or having things that kind of manipulate the way the world works. I don't exactly know how the season's going to work because it has this very Lost Ark Guild Wars feel of like map completion. And I don't really know, like, do I have to re-clear the map every season? So I don't know what all that does right now. So I don't know what all the word season means. But those are the sort of things that would draw me back in, is new affixes, new ways to play. World scaling is an incredibly interesting idea for the term hardcore. So like, I'm interested to see how hardcore works on the game because that looks hard.
Yeah. For me, I think it's going to be about, adding in new quality of life, adding in more build options and things to go and chase, namely for the season, like some interesting challenges and goals and bosses would be kind of unique. If they continue to tell stories about, the world and things like that, I think that could be very kind of enticing to kind of jump in. As somebody who likes stories in these games, I skipped over all the story within the beta because I'd like to experience it, all when it actually is out in June. So I think, I don't know yet in terms of like build variety, like in terms of like, being able to save builds, because I haven't seen that UI yet. I was looking and I'm hopeful for that, because one of the things that when it comes down to building out your character is to ideally to be able to kind of say, hey, I want to do this or I want to do that. And with the skills and the options that they have, if I can snapshot that and make it easy. And if that's not in the game at launch and comes down later, that'd be great. But one of the things that was really surprising from the closed beta to the open beta was just they actually did update. They did add in more settings and more features as a controller player that I was thrilled to see. So them just continuing to invest in both, all avenues will be great. Will I play every season? Probably not, because that's just not the way of it. But what's interesting, what I'd like to see though, is them completely update their seasonal model to something what Wayfinder's doing, because I think what we were talking about and what Chris has alluded to with the FOMO level is that Wayfinder, you can buy the season, you can equip the season, you keep the season, you can only buy the season during the season. And at some point, we're assuming that they would do some kind of bundles and, packs down the road. Makes sense, right? But that essentially will have me with Wayfinder log in. And even if I'm not actively hardcore grinding on whatever in Wayfinder at the time, I'll just go buy the season. Because when I do want to come and play, I don't want to sit here and be like, man, I should have bought the season.
It also lets them take seasons and make them more specialized. So this could be like season of the mount, and it's a bunch of new mount skins, and it's focused on like using the open world. And so a lot of the modifications are open world driven. And what that means is that later down the road, at the time, if somebody doesn't like it, they just skip that season. But what it means is like, thank you guys so much for 10 seasons. right now on the store, seasons 1 through 5 are bundled, and they are all half price. And then, of course, through like the Steam type system, you have these, they've gotten a lot better at a lot of these saying like, and if you buy it, you're not buying all 5, you're buying the ones you're missing. So if you bought 3 of them back then, it's that price per unit, but you're just buying the 2 you missed. And then you just activate one. So you're like, hey, I want to work on mount stuff right now. And so that starts to create some resilience in the game, where if they ever make a season that's not your thing, and it's like, hey, this is a season all about dungeon crawling, and you're like, I hate the dungeon crawling in this game, then you can be like, okay, well, then I'm just going to equip a different season. So like Guild Wars does this with their reward track system in PvP. And it lets you kind of choose your reward track. So, and for Final Fantasy fans, since a lot of people here know Final Fantasy, just imagine if your PvP series, if you could choose which series you were working on. So if there's a series that resulted in armor and a series that resulted in a mount, you could choose which one your PvP experience is being credited to, one at a time. And you can toggle, whenever you want. So if you get 1 to level 10, get the reward for that. And you're like, I think I'm done with this one. I don't want the level 25 reward. That's fine. Just hit it back to the other one. And you have access to whichever seasons, in this case, you've purchased in a Diablo sense, because it seems like they'd be selling you seasons because that's their monetization method. So like, I would love to see that, because it takes away the FOMO element, because then you're not like Call of Duty has seasons and they have a season ending in like a couple days here, and I'm really far from completing it. And now it's like, well, then why try? Like, I can't go back and finish it. It's just going to end. So it makes me not care. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Pulling up our next comment. Yep, perfect. All right. So that's going to probably wrap up our Diablo talk for today's show. I'm sure it will be. I did too. I had a great time. I was unfortunate to have enough time to jump into the other classes, because I was like, I'm gotta get 1 to 20. I'm gonna get my puppy, and I absolutely did. So
there's some pain points in item management.
Yeah.
I don't actually think it's the tooltips that's the problem. I think it's that in the item, like, it can't auto salvage. It can't auto put the slash on based on rarity or based on conditions. So like, as I'm just picking things up, I have to like go through each thing, and like, it can't just start to help me. And then the map, like everything about the map and the mini map blows. And that just needs a complete update.
I don't think they'll have the map like
done by that. It's gonna be like that on launch.
Yeah, but the thing is that I appreciate about Diablo in this case is that this is a beta. They have, like less than 3 months, but still enough time to kind of address some kind of core issues, some rubber banding, some bugs, and things like that. So like the fact that they rolled in new settings week over week, I was like, oh, that's great. So that they're still iterating and things like that, which gives me a lot of excitement, because I felt like the overall experience was rock solid. And then they just need to continue to work on that. And that's what I think the seasonal model will actually give them, is the ability to continue to enhance and improve and take that feedback and find what the community really likes to do and enhance that and do this and etc. And yeah, playing Barbarian is absolutely the weakest. It's like, oh man, like I was really wanting to spend time with the Druid, but man, the Sorceress was a lot of fun, and Necro looked really cool, and was happy to see a lot of people running around with that. Just, yeah, like
I think
really
there's that worried about how the game feels at 25. If they change nothing and the game sucks and is good in all the same ways at 25, it doesn't matter. We spend all of our time in that game at cap.
Yeah.
And honestly, the bigger question is like, can they keep people's clients from crashing? Can they handle the queues? Do they know how to have their server stuff running? So like, there's all these different systems that, like, hopefully it was much more of what Demon's saying in chat. Hopefully it was much more of a stress test and less of a beta, where we're going to have a smoother launch window because of these 2 weekends.
Mm-hmm.